large, somebody actually had a dinner party inside of them for 8 people. So you can understand the size of them, get a bit more perspective. This whole area in front of us is called Hyde Park Corner, but it's also very much to do with a famous man called the Duke of Wellington. Now, the Duke of Wellington was a famous, not naval, army hero of the country in the early 1800s. His house was this house on the left-hand side here. This is called Apsley House, and that was where the Duke of Wellington lived. And his family still live there today, but it is also a museum. A very, very grand place to live. So that whole area behind us is really there to remember the Duke of Wellington, with Wellington Arch and Apsley House where he lived. The gates on the left-hand side here, these were put here to remember a lovely lady, the Queen Mother, who was the mother of Queen Elizabeth II, who was a very favourite person of the royal family to everyone, really. She was a lovely lady, and she got very she was a real people person, and anyone who met her said she really took time to speak to them, because I think sometimes people will think of the royal family as being a bit posh and a bit not interested in normal people, in inverted commas. But I think she was definitely somebody who was interested in people and liked people. And it's said that after the Second World War, when even Buckingham Palace was hit by a bomb, albeit not as badly as some other places, she said it also almost made her feel better, because she could relate to her subjects from the East End of London, many of whom had lost their homes completely because of the bombing that took place in the Second World War. So Hyde Park, there you can see the entrance over there in the distance to Winter Wonderland. Many years since I went, I used to take my son every year. Can't say I enjoyed it too much. Yeah, toddler around somewhere like that wanting to go on all the rides, but you do it when you're a parent, and it's still a very popular thing to do for people who come here. And I think it goes on to about the 4th of January generally, so that'll be busy later with all the rides and whatever. You can see the roller coasters and the Ferris wheel up there, and that's normally where that we have some very big concerts in the summer. You'll see that there are a lot of statues in London, and I'm not going to point them all out because there's too many, but there is one. There's 2 animals in war, for example, where people, you know, we have a lot of statues to people that died in the war or people that fought in the war, but somebody had the idea one day, what about all the animals that did jobs in the war as well? You know, we don't want to forget about them, so somebody had the idea to actually put a lovely memorial there to the animals at war, and that represents all wars, not just the 2 world wars in the 20th century. Okay, so we're very central now, coming up to an area. This is an area called Marble Arch, and you'll see as we go round, those at the front can see this archway in front of us. This is quite a focal point around here. It's a good place. People often meet up here, because Oxford Street is the busy shopping street to the right of that, and it's quite a good place to meet with people, so you don't get lost. We're trying to find them on Oxford Street before you start your shopping, because Oxford Street is about 1.5 miles of shopping, and it's one of the busiest shopping streets, probably the busiest shopping street in London. Now, Marble Arch used to be in a different place. We're going to be going to Buckingham Palace in a little while. We're going to do a little bit of a walk there. And Marble Arch actually used to be in front of Buckingham Palace. And it was moved when Queen Victoria started living in Buckingham Palace, because she had a lot of work done to the palace to make it big enough for her family of 9 children and all her servants and everything that came with it. So she had the Marble Arch basically moved to here. I'm sure it wasn't that simple. It's rather a large building, but yes, it was moved to here just to be on the edge of Hyde Park itself. ahead of us is Oxford Street. And it's actually lovely that you're here at this time of the year, because you're going to get to see some really lovely Christmas decorations while you're here, especially when you go to Covent Garden later. That's beautifully done out, and we're going to see some lovely decorations. Obviously they're not up, they're not lit at the moment because it's not dark, but you know, you're definitely going to, during your time here, get to see some lovely Christmas trees and decorations. So it's a good time to come. Down to the left, that's Oxford Street. So that is the busy shopping street that in an hour or so as well, yeah, it'll be heaving with people very soon. And that's where people like to come for the sales that happen after Christmas. I don't know if that happens worldwide, but we have a lot of sales here that normally start on Boxing Day, on the 26th of December. And all the Christmas shopping, you know, a lot of people do it online now, but there's still a lot of people that go shopping and do it in person, if you like. But I'm one of those. I prefer to go physically shopping and get involved with the buzz of it all. A bit of it online, but mainly going to the shops themselves and do the shopping there. So we're coming into an area now. This is a very, very posh area of London called Mayfair. So just behind the hustle and bustle of Oxford Street. And look at the houses around. You can see that people who lived in these houses once upon a time were probably pretty wealthy. They would have had, I mean, these days a lot of these sorts of houses have divided into apartments or hotels. Now, talking of hotels, the square that we're coming into now is called Grosvenor Square, and this building on the right hand side is a very new hotel, but it used to be, up until a few years ago, the American Embassy. That statue just there to your right is Dwight Eisenhower, and his HQ was just there on to the left where that plaque is on that building. So this whole area was, and the statue in the middle of the park there is of Roosevelt. So this whole area was very much sort of about America, and then the American Embassy moved to South London a few years ago, so they've now built this huge hotel in its place. And after the 9/11 atrocities, there was one of the books of remembrance. We had many, but one of them was in the square there, and thousands of people, myself included, came to sign it. It was very moving, as I'm sure everybody can relate to. So Mayfair is, as you can see, a rather expensive part of town. And back in the day, you'd have a family that would basically live in the whole house, and their servants would tend to live in the top floors where the rooms were smaller, and they would do all the work in the ground floor, in the basement. So they would run up and down the stairs looking after the family of the house. And when I was a child, there used to be a TV show called Upstairs Downstairs, which really told you about the difference in the lives of the family of the house and their servants. These days, a lot of these places are shops, and on the right hand side, just there, you'll see two blue plaques. And those two blue plaques, sorry? Those two blue plaques that we just went past were telling us that George Frederick Handel lived in one of those houses, and the famous rock musician Jimi Hendrix lived in the one next door. And they've actually amalgamated the two to make it the Handel Hendrix Museum now. So for music lovers, that's a great place to visit. This whole area that we're going through now is full of designer stores. Not somewhere that I go shopping very often, but it's another side of London, and very beautiful in its own way, and obviously it has its amazing Christmas decorations too.
I don't think this was Coochie.
So we're just coming down into a road called Bruton Street. This is actually the street that Queen Elizabeth II was born in, although the building that she was born in has long since gone. It was up here on the left-hand side of the corner. And we are coming into Berkeley Square. So where that car showroom is there is around where Queen Elizabeth II was born, but not in a car showroom, obviously. Here is Berkeley Square, and this is where you... Oh, yes. Right, I've just been asked about the decorative front of the house over there. Yes, this I actually don't know, but let's have a look when we go past it and see if gives us any clues. This is Berkeley Square, where you'll all be starting off tomorrow for the marching, but not tomorrow, on Thursday. I'm just going to have a quick look at this and see what it is, and if not, I'm going to have to Google it, because I don't know what this is, but it's pretty special, and I can ask another of my guiding friends. I can't see number 46. Right, I'm going to have to look that one up, because it's something not to be missed, really, isn't it? I think. So this is Berkeley Square, one of the many London squares, and this was built up in the 1700s. And the trees that you see in the middle are all called London plane trees, Plane. And these are some of the oldest trees in London. And what's interesting about these plane trees is that they kind of absorb pollution and shed it in their bark. So they're very good. I'm not quite sure of the science behind it, but they're very good at sorts of trees to have in the centre of a big city. So this is Berkeley Square, very special square, and obviously it'll be very busy in 2 days' time with everybody there getting ready for the start of the marches. There's a song, don't worry, I'm not going to sing it to you because I don't know the tune, but there is a song called A Nightingale Sang in Berkeley Square, which was a very famous song during the Second World War sort of time in the 1940s, but I've heard that there's no chance that nightingales would be living in London, so it was obviously somebody's imagination, but it was quite a popular song at those times. I've just been informed that of course, that was Annabelle's private club. Yes, of course. Yeah, well done. Thank you for that. Which is one of those nightclubs that you can't, not anyone can just go to. You need to be a member. And I remember back in the day when people like Prince Andrew and Sarah Ferguson, his wife, used to go there. Lots of famous people go to that nightclub. We couldn't get in unless we were on the members list and probably paid a lot of money to be members. This is the Ritz on the right hand side, the Ritz Hotel. Very famous hotel, very popular with, as I said, people coming for afternoon tea and for staying. It's very central, right next to Green Park and pretty close to Buckingham Palace, so it's a lovely hotel. Quite pricey to stay at, I would say, but a beautiful place. And one of the best nights of my life ever was going to a Christmas party at the Ritz Hotel. Just saying. So this is Piccadilly, and it's a bit of a strange name, but Piccadilly takes its name from a thing called a piccadille, which was a type of collar that gentlemen used to wear, like a ruff around their necks during the 1700s, and that is why this road is called Piccadilly. On the left-hand side is the Royal Academy of Arts in Burlington House. This is one of our art galleries in London. We have quite a few. The main one being the National Gallery, which we'll probably go past shortly. They have a fantastic summer exhibition every year at the Royal Academy. And look to your right now, everyone, the lovely front of Fortnum and Mason. This is basically nicknamed the Queen's Grocer, or we should say the King's Grocer now. That is where it's food. It's just a food emporium, and it was started by the footmen of the king, and they started off very sort of conservatively and small, and grew and grew and grew into this amazing, basically like a food department store called Fortnum and Mason, and they always have a lovely decorative facade at Christmas time, as you saw there. About the Blitz, the Blitz, yeah. The Blitz is the bombing in the Second World War, and there was a period during September, I think, 1940, where it was particularly bad, and obviously we were at war with Germany, and there were bombers coming every night. There's bombs dropping all over London. They tended to target the east of London, and the Docklands in particular. They wanted to obviously target the infrastructure as much as possible, but the East End of London was really badly hit, and thousands of homes were destroyed. Lots of other places had hits, like St Paul's Cathedral, that we'll be seeing later, had a couple weren't really targeted, and that's because we think that the bombers needed a focal point to head to get to central London, so they left that alone. They left the obvious places alone, but the houses